Quiet up. Keep talking. Make noise. Look out now!
Giordano and the Nighthawks.
Got my heart thumping and bumping all the day through. Right from the start, aching for something, making me blue. Hear it thump, hear it jump, hear it bump, hear it click. Ah, hear it click, 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 click like a clock. You've got my heart thumping and bumping over you. Welcome to Birdland. We're here on our Tuesday night session, and we're so happy that you came. And we are also broadcasting tonight on the YouTube channel Radio Free Birdland. So, you folks out there, welcome. We're broadcasting from Birdland on West 44th Street, where we hear every Monday and Tuesday. We're the Nighthawks, and I'm your leader for this session. My name is Vince Giordano. Oh, thank you. Wow, what a crowd. We have the chosen few with us tonight here. But anyway, we opened up with a little fanfare to get everybody's attention. But we had everybody's attention before we started. You guys are too polite. Come on, rip roar. Anyway, it was a tune written by Jimmy McHugh, known for many, many hits. Sunny Side of the Street, I Can't Give You Anything But Love, Baby. But in 1936, he wrote something for Universal Pictures, and it was a big, monstrous fanfare with that little biplane going around the earth. So we had to get a drummer with a timpani, and we got our wonderful Paul Wells back there with his timpani. Play that timpani, man. All right, that's enough. And then we segued into a tune written by James P. Johnson, wonderful Harlem Stride piano player who wrote the Charleston and If I Could Be With You, 1 Hour Tonight, Old Fashioned Love, great mentor to Fats Waller and so many people. It's called Thumpin' and Bumpin', and it was recorded by the great U.B. Blake Orchestra in 1931. And we had some nice solos. That was Sam Chess on the trombone, Mark Lobin on the tenor, John Kelso on the trumpet, and yours truly trying to sing on vocal. All right. Well, here we go. We're going to play some more Jimmy McHugh right now from 1929 when they were working up in Harlem with Duke Ellington. Dorothy Fields and Jimmy McHugh put this song together. Unfortunately, I don't have the words for it. I'm sure they're out somewhere. It's called Freeze and Melt. It reminds me of that last nightclub that we used to work. It was either 12 degrees or 98 degrees in the place. But here it is, the Freeze and Melt, done by Duke Ellington. 1, 2, 1, 2. By Dorothy Fields and Jimmy McHugh, played by Duke Ellington in 1929, and it was so nice to have Paul Wells play those chimes back there. Sonny Greer, his drummer, had a set of chimes just like that, and very heavy to move, but worth it. You know, it's almost like going to church there. And there you go. Answer the doorbell, will you? Sam Chess there on the trombone, and hot trumpet solo there by John Eric Kelso. Yeah. And then we had one of the best chromatic clarinet soloists here in New York City, Dan Pearson with the chromatic clarinet. There it is, his specialty. And the fellow playing all that hot alto solo stuff that was done originally by Johnny Hodges, that's Will Anderson. Yes. Hey, Will, while you're standing, why don't you do our little bit? We pass the microphone around, and we have this thing called the Nighthawk Home Shopping Network that we like to introduce to everybody, and everyone gets, well, not everybody, but a lot of guys get a turn because they do some fantastic things. Will, it's all yours.
Thank you, Uncle Vince. Well, I did want to mention I do have some merchandise for sale this evening. Now, it's not a CD, it's not an LP. I decided to actually create a product that's from much much earlier in the history of humanity than that. Back in the 1400s, the Gutenberg printing press. So I wrote a book. It's called Songbook Summit, 15 Pioneers of American Sound. You haven't read it yet. Anyway, it features many of the lives of our great American composers like George Gershwin and Cole Porter, as well as many of the great jazz musicians, Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, and many more. So come check that out. It's available in the back. Also, I wanted to mention I'm going to be here on this stage the entire weekend of July 4th with my own ensemble, along with my twin brother Peter, and we're going to be saluting the great Artie Shaw. And a quick preview of the show. We're going to be playing all the same 12 notes as tonight. They're just going to be rearranged in a different order.
All right. How about that, Will Anderson? Okay. All right. One more Duke Ellington-inspired performance here. This was recorded by Duke and his band and for the Victor label, and it was dedicated to a kind of forgotten Broadway star of Black Broadway, a lady by the name of Florence Mills. And she was in the original Shuffle Along, and she was just a big star. And she died very unexpectedly, and she was very young. And Duke Ellington was so moved by that fact that he wrote a song about her called Black Beauty. And here is our Andy Farber transcription. 1, 2, 3, 4. Piano. Black Beauty by Duke Ellington. Peter Aaron there at the piano. The original trombone player was Tricky Sam then. We have our own Tricky Sam. Tricky Sam Chess there. There you go. Ooh, very good. And that was Dan Pearson on the clarinet, and the fellow playing all that great mute stuff on the trumpet is John Eric Kelso. Hey, since we got everyone's attention, why don't you take the microphone and do your bit for the Home Shopping Network?
All right. Okay. So in addition to playing here on Mondays and Tuesdays, I play every Sunday night at a place called the Ear Inn down on Spring Street. And this week is actually our 18th anniversary of playing Sunday nights at the Ear Inn. And we call the band the Irregulars, of course. And we have a live CD that just came out recently, and it happens to be available in the back there. It's live at the Ear Inn, the Irregulars. Thank you.
Thank you, John Kelso. All right. Here's a hot one from 1932. Not a good year for many things, making records or selling sheet music. This tune was never recorded, and just slipped through the cracks, so to speak. Written by a fellow named Joe Trent. Joe Trent was a black songwriter, lyricist. He worked with Louis Alter, he worked with Duke Ellington, and he wrote stuff on his own. And this is one of the tunes. It's called It's Hallelujah Time. 1, 2, 1, 2. Kelso there and Sam Chess, and a little bit of Mark Lopman on the tenor saxophone. That tune originally was orchestrated by a fellow named Ken McComber. Ken McComber, who did some Broadway work and worked a lot with Fats Waller. Ken McComber, whatever happened to him, I don't know, but he did a lot of great things. We're going to slow things down. Guys, I didn't pull this, I forgot, but it's one of our tunes that we play every show, and that's the tune that Louis Armstrong introduced to the world in 1928. Actually, it was recorded earlier by Joe Oliver, who wrote the tune. Joe Oliver was a cornet trumpet band from New Orleans, and was very helpful to Louis, getting him to leave New Orleans and join his band in Chicago and set him on his way. And Louis was always very thankful for Joe Oliver for doing what he did. He was also known as King Oliver because he was the king of hot jazz trumpet playing in that time. Anyway, the tune is called the West End Blues. And here it is, and here's John Kelso. Play some more music. How about those clarinets? That's Peter Yaron doing Earl Father Hines' solo. Give him a nice hand. Time for John. Also there on that great trumpet solo that Louis Armstrong played, the West End Blues. And yeah, Sam Chester on the trombone. And you might have noticed the clarinets had something different to their way there. That was the megaphones. And megaphone clarinet, I think, originated with the Hal Kemp band, which had nothing to do with the West End Blues, but I figured I'd add it in case some movie director came in and wanted something weird and out of place. And as I was mentioning, a couple of the guys in the band have big dogs. And instead of going to the vet, I'd loan them sometimes these megaphones to take home for their dogs, when they put them around like the big cones, there you go. 25 cents a night, too, it's not bad, easy rental. And then we talked about the wonderful piano solo that Earl Father Hines did. He was, to me, one of the first modern jazz pianists of the 1920s. And as I always mention, he couldn't make it again tonight. So Peter Yaron played it. Yeah, that's nice. And then I always mention about the percussion that was used. There was an instrument that some bands used back then. Sonny Greer had a set of them with the Ellington Band, and also Zooty Singleton, who appeared at this on this recording. He was a Chicago drummer. They're called Baccarat cymbals, and I spent years trying to find out what that sound was. And when I finally found these cymbals, I said, wow, now we got to play this song, and I got to get a drummer to play it. And I found both. I got Paul Wells. Give him a little baccarat bach. Oh yeah. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Stop. He gets addicted to that. Now, folks have asked me for years when are you going to record the West End Blues. Well, we finally did, and it's this nice little vinyl, wonderful piece of recording. And I'm not going to say it's an LP because it's not an LP. It's not recorded at 33 or 45. Truth be known, it's recorded at 78 RPM. Wow. Oh my God! Thanks for waking me up. Anyway, I mentioned that because we'd love you to buy this, but I want to make sure you have 3 speeds on your turntable, because if you put this on, you unwrap it, and you're all excited to hear the Nighthawks, and there we go, and it sounds like this, and very slow, and it doesn't sound good at all. No. Okay. You know how when you play something at the wrong speed. So please have a 78 RPM speed. And you can't play it on a wind-up machine either, because, well, you can actually. Oh, my back. But if you do, you play it one time, and that'll be the end of the grooves. All right. Here's something to pick up a little bit, the tempo. Tune that was recorded by quite a few bands in the 1920s, and then a lot of trad jazz bands played it. And one of the writers was a fellow named Julie Stein, and he was in Chicago. I think he was still in high school, and you know, kind of doubling up like some of these guys, you know, like Will Anderson. You know, he's just out of college, and he's here. We haven't told the school yet that he's doubling at night, but I'm just kidding. But anyway, when Julie Stein got his royalty check for this number, he jumped out of school. He says, "The heck with that! I'm gonna be a musician. I don't want to know the other side of the pie and triangle, whatever." Anyway, it's called Sunday, and it was recorded by the Gene Goldkett Band, arranged by my teacher, a fellow by the name of Bill Chalice. Bill Chalice, a great friend of Bick Spiderbeck and Frankie Trumbauer, Eddie Lang, and all those wonderful people. Here it is. It's called Sunday. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I'm blue every Monday, thinking over Sunday. That's one day when I'm with you. It seems that I sigh all day Tuesday, I cry all day Wednesday. Oh my, how I long for you. And then comes Thursday, gee, it's long, it never goes by. Friday makes me feel like I'm gonna die. But after payday is my fun day. I shine all day Sunday. That's one day when I'm with you. Gonna meet you next Sunday. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Sunday. Nice little duet there that was recorded originally by Bill Rank and Joe Venuti, and they had to introduce some duets like that because the recording engineer didn't like jazz that much. So if you had two instruments playing together, he liked it better. And that was Sam Chess and doing the Bill Rank solo, and the Joe Venuti solo was done by Andy Stein. Yeah. And how about that little whole tone break there? That was Arndt Arnson. Could you give us that whole tone break again? Do you remember it?
Yeah.
This is. Yeah. That was pretty modern for those years. And and there were three singers on there, by the way. An act called the Keller Sisters and Brother Lynch. Keller Sisters and Lynch, two fellas and a guy. And the way I do it, it sort of sounds like Lynch, the Keller Sisters. But anyway, there you go. That joke went better last night. But anyway, you guys are not drinking enough. I think it's time to put the charts away for right now, and let's play some traditional jazz. What you got there, John Kelso? The Tin Roof Blues. Oh, man. Okay. All right, here's what I'd like to do. So when everybody plays their choruses, then we double it up at the very end for two choruses. And at the end of the second chorus, we go back to the halftime. Okay? That's the rehearsal and the performance. Like Tin Roof Blues. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Tin Roof Blues. Okay. Will Anderson there on the clarinet, John Kelso on that soulful trumpet there, and that was Sam Chess on the trombone, and we get a solo here from a fella that doesn't get too many solos with the big band, but that's like we like to give him on these little jazz things. And he's got a beautiful banjo too, and he's got something to say on the Nighthawk Home Shopping Network. Let's have a big hand for Arndt Arntzen.
Thank you very much, everybody. So I do have a little bit of a personal announcement to make, which is that I just became a father. Thanks very much. So, raising a family is expensive. So to help pay for my rapidly expanding family, I too am also hawking stuff in the back at the merch cart. And I've got a vinyl record and a CD for sale. They're called Keep Your Sunny Side Up. And they're sold with a guarantee, which is that if you buy the album, you take it home and you listen to it and you don't really like it, well, you can just send it back to me. And then I'll send you an album that I don't like.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds like a deal. That's Arndt Arntzen. All right. He's got some nice albums back there. So go over to the merch counter. There's lots of stuff for you to pursue and look at. And you might have noticed our pianist had a change of plans with his piano playing. He went out and played the celesta, a nice classical instrument, sometimes used in jazz. Here's Peter Yaron to play a little of that all by himself so you get to hear it. Yeah, we're all set. That's Peter Yaron. One of the better celeste players in Birdland. He's the only one, believe it or not. The next soloist was who the heck was that? Oh, that was me. And that was this instrument here, which was called a bass saxophone. And I appreciate, thank you. I appreciate the one person applauding there, on my solo. It's okay. And usually, you know what I'm not even going to get into it, but I should. The sound of one hand applauding, that's usually the wife hitting her husband with one hand, like boom. That's it. Anyway, but we always say the more you drink, the better it sounds, and the more I drink, the better I think it sounds. So let's try it. Let's see. How sweet it is. Next, here's that great solo. I mean, that was kind of a slow, bluesy number, and this gentleman, he did a great job. But usually with drum solos, we usually give them faster numbers, but so it wasn't slow and it wasn't fast. It was sort of in the middle, like half-fast tempo, right? Half-fast? Okay, he wouldn't say that. But anyway, he did a great job with the tempo that we threw at him. Wonderful job. That's Paul Wells on the drums. Yay! He constantly goes on the road with Curtis Stigers, coming to a town near you. And another man who did a lot of road work back in the old days, playing the violin and the saxophone, was a fellow we're going to introduce now. He played with Garrison Keillor, Bob Dylan, Sir Paul McCartney, Asleep at the Wheel, and many other groups that he got fired from. That he played with, sorry. But here he's playing the phono fiddle or the Stroh violin. That's Andy Stein. Let's see, where's my little newspaper here? Here it is. Okay, I always give this plug for all you people out there in YouTube land. It's not radio land or TV land, and also for you folks here, because we have some free copies of this wonderful magazine called The Syncopated Times. And it is the only magazine, or newspaper, whatever you call it, that devotes itself to early jazz. And whether it's ragtime or syncopated jazz or even some early swing. And there's some nice reviews of current groups that do it, and there's some historical things too. Now, we have our ad in there, and the ad is basically our card, which I'm going to try to give each and every one of you. And this card is very valuable. First of all, it's going to be valuable in 50 years, I think. Whatever. But it's a wonderful card. If you have some crumbs on the table, you just kind of scrape it all like that. It's wonderful. I've tried it, and some of the guys have actually done videos of cleaning their table with my card. I've seen it. It's okay. It's okay, as long as I get it to good use. Or you could jazz up your refrigerator or your furnace, whatever. But even more importantly, Will Anderson wrote that book, right? And you gotta have a bookmark. You gotta have a bookmark. So let's see if we can do it. There you go. Oh my goodness! Wow, it happened. Nice. So don't forget to, Manny. I can't believe how that happened. He's also doubling as a magician. He's going to be at Madame Tussauds a little later. Thank you. So check all that stuff at the merch table. There's lots of things there, a lot of flyers. There's the Big Spider Big Festival that's happening in Davenport this summer, and the Brighton Jazz Festival. It's going to be great. Anyway, I misquoted myself there. It's not Brighton. It's another. What's the town there? Joe, you're going to be there, right? In England.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the name of the town there? Whitney Bay. Oh yeah, it's over in England. It's that direction. So it's not Brighton. I'm sorry. I apologize out there. Occasionally, my notes get a little mangled. Now, what was I going to say now? Usually we ask if anyone's got a request out there.
Railroad Man.
Railroad Man. Oh, okay. Well, here it is. Usually we do that at the end of the night, but let's do that at the end of the night because that's a real fast one. But let's dig it out anyway. What number is it?
It's hard to laugh or smile.
What's that?
It's hard to laugh or smile.
Well, hey, we can't be taking requests all night here. Which one do you want? Hard to laugh or smile?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that one instead of Railroad Man. Okay, because we only have one request per customer, right? Okay, sorry. There's limits to anything and everything. This was played by the great Benny Moulton Band in Kansas City. You guys got the number? 165 red. 165 red. Remember that, Ed. Bingo! Okay. Here we go. Okay. Sorry for the delay, but that's what happens when we dig it out. This arrangement was done by the great Frank Powers and yours truly way back in Benny Moulton's Kansas City Orchestra in 1928 with some fantastic players that later, many of them became the Count Basie Orchestra. Count Basie had not joined this band yet, but and Kansas City had so much great hot jazz. Andy Kirk's band and the George E. Lee band, but I like the Benny Moulton band the best. But I also like Coon Sanders too. So there's a lot. It's apples and oranges. It's hard to laugh or smile. 1, 2, 1, 2. Was that the one? We don't know that one. All right, it's hard to laugh or smile. And you might have noticed that there was a little bit of a back and forth with the two reed players, with the tenor and the baritone, and that was what they call a chase chorus. And later in the swing era, they did a lot of that. But in the 1920s, they started doing that. Bix and Frankie Trumbauer also did it, and wonderful. And one of the things that's appealing with this whole thing is a little trumpet duet, and with Benny Moten's great sort of ragtime piano was going, and with all that going on, there's this funky beat there on that Victor Studios allowed Willie McWashington to play. Give him a little of that funky beat there. Yeah, that's enough. Wow, that's you don't hear that on too many recordings in the 1920s. Usually the recording director would say, none of that, you know. They were really hard on drummers. I got a chance to meet, about 3 drummers that worked in the 1920s when I was a young fella, and they said, it was so rough. The recording engineer would just start taking things away, and they said all I'm left is with like a woodblock and a cymbal. That's it, and and that was it, you know. And so it's very rare to hear, you know, neat things like that. Hey, we haven't played any Cole Porter tonight, and we have a lady here. We have a lady. Well, you haven't heard it yet. We have a lady here from Yale, Miss Amber Edwards, who's a great fan of Cole Porter's, as we all are. And this was one of his first big hits, done in the 1928-29 period from a show called Paris, and it's called "Let's Do It, Let's Fall in Love." And Cole Porter, of course, made so many other great hits, but we like this one. This was done by the Dorsey Brothers Orchestra, orchestrated by a fellow named Arthur Shutt, a great pianist from Pennsylvania, and Mark Lobin took this off the record here. Bing Crosby sang the vocal, but he couldn't make it tonight, so I'll excuse myself for this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why birds do it, bees do it, up in Lapland's little laps do it. Let's do it, let's fall in love. In Spain is best, upper sets do it. Lithuanians and let's do it, let's fall in love. The Dutch and old Amsterdam do it, not to mention the Finns, folks in Siam do it. Think of Siamese twins, some Argentines without means do it. People say in Boston even beans do it. Let's do it, let's fall in love. was Tommy Dorsey's solo was done by Sam Chess, and the clarinet and saxophone work was done by Will Anderson. And Will, has saluted the Dorsey brothers with his brother. Do you have any Dorsey shows coming up lately? No. Okay. Man knows the answer. We're concentrating on Artie Shaw. Okay. Sam, we haven't had anything done with your trombone megaphone. What would you like? What would you like to do, in the worst way? My Pretty Girl. Okay, we could do that. We could do that. That picks it up a little bit. This is another tune from the Gene Goldcat Library, and trying to remember the number now.
130-something.
137, I think. Let's see.
135.
135. Okay, for you, 135. 137. Okay.
Big cash?
Here's another tune from the Gene Goldcat Library. Originally it featured Don Murray, but he was sick that recording day, and I'm trying to remember the great clarinetist who filled in for him. But Vic Spiderbeck was there, Joe Venuti, Nettie Lang, and Spiegel Wilcox was the trombonist who put his trombone in a big megaphone like that. I got a chance to meet the two trombonists from the Goldcat Band when we did a recreation of this in 1975 or so, and they still have their old megaphones. It was a thrill. It was a great. So anyway, here it is, My Pretty Girl, and wait for the megaphone. 1, 2, 1, 2. Chess on the megaphone. Give a little sample of the megaphone for the folks, just so they can. Very good, Sam. And what happens if you don't use the megaphone? What happens then? Yeah. Oh my! No, keep the megaphone. With the Nighthawks, people make requests, and our second rule, the first rule is make sure you have a drink. But the second rule is we take requests, but we don't play them. This request comes from December of last year, so it's not that far away. And it was written in 1924, and the President Harding was having a lot of problems, and there was this thing called the Teapot Dome Scandal. Check it out on Wikipedia or whatever. And a bunch of guys, Elmer Schobel and Mr. George D. Lotman and Irving Mills got together and wrote the Teapot Dome Blues. And so we got a request to do that last December, but here it is finally. So if you see the people that requested it on the street, let them know. All right, here's some saxophone parts. Saxophone. There you go. Nice. All right, now I gotta get this out here to the rhythm section and the other. I'm sorry, Andy. There's no violin part. He left already? Okay. Have a nice drink. Oh, came back. All right. The Teapot Dome Blues. We're probably one of the few bands on West 44th Street here playing this tonight. We hope you're enjoying our broadcast. And if you are, feel free to clip the little link and send it to some folks, because it's all about publicity and getting the word out. You'll find none of this kind of music on any of the networks or any of the modern jazz records, modern radio stations, what I'm saying. Okay, guys, good luck. Give it a little intensity. It's 1924. 1, 2, 1, 2. Peter Yaron's our band historian. When do you think we're going to play that one again? That's That's a long time from now. Okay, well, we'll see about that. All right. Well, we got a nice little tune here that was written by Joseph Meyer, who had a lot of hits in the 1920s, California, Here I Come. And he got together with a band leader named Roger Wolf Kahn. And they got into a Broadway show. The Broadway show was called Here's How, H-O-W-E. I have no idea what the script was. I'll have to look it up sometime online, who Mr. Howe was, or maybe it doesn't have to do with anybody. I have no idea. But anyway, there's a wonderful tune. It's called Crazy Rhythm, Crazy Rhythm. And we're going to feature, well, we'll let that happen later. You guys get your feature things ready, okay? All right, Crazy Rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2. Crazy rhythm, here's the doorway. I go my way, you go your way. Crazy rhythm, from now on we're through. Here is where we have a showdown. I'm too high and you're too low down. Crazy rhythm, said goodbye to you. They say that when a highbrow meets a lowbrow walking along Broadway, soon the highbrow, he has no brow, ain't it a shame? And you're to blame. What's the use of prohibition? You produce the same condition. Crazy rhythm, I've gone crazy too. You might have noticed that our saxophone section picked up a different instrument there, and it was a soprano saxophone. That's what they look like. They come in curved and they come in straight, and those with the 3 straight ones. Now, the truth be known or not, I can't remember. When we first started playing with the Nighthawks, we played way back in the 70s at a place called the Red Blazer, and we had a fella come in, and he played the sit-in with the saxophone, and it was Kenny G, and you know, he was not that well known back then, but now he's really big and famous, and we're very happy for him, but we never see him anymore. No, it happens. So we, as a tribute, I've named these 3 saxophones, soprano saxophones, Kenny X, Y, and Z. There you go. So if we get Kenny G to come in, we'll have X, Y, Z, and G, or vice versa. I don't know. But there you go. That's a little shtick that should be buried. We had a wonderful time playing for you this evening, and we want to thank you so much for coming to support live music and coming to the world's greatest jazz nightclub, Birdland. Thank you. There's some brochures on the table for you folks here in the audience, and please take one and check out all the great groups that are here, and you can come back. And every month is a whole different schedule. We have some regular bands, like yours truly here on Mondays and Tuesdays, the Dave Oswald Band on Wednesday, the High Society, New Orleans Jazz Band on Thursday, but there's the Birdland Big Band, there's Cabaret Night upstairs on Mondays. It's overwhelming what goes on, and there's 5:30 shows and 7:30 shows, and broadcasts, and whoo, it's on and on. So we appreciate that, and we hope that maybe some of you could try to introduce some young folks to live music. Okay? Maybe not. Anyway, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, live music, because young folks have to find out about live music, and old folks too. But anyway, and like I always say, each audience that we have is different. And in all the years I've had this band, and it's been a long time, tonight, you folks, this audience, is our most recent, and we appreciate that. Okay, we're going to close off with a little Duke Ellington for you right now. Duke Ellington at the Cotton Club. He was there so long that he wrote 2 Cotton Club stomps, and this is Cotton Club stomp number 2, and we're going to feature X, Y, and Z. So wait for that. 1, 2, 1, 2.
And as Vince mentioned, the Nighthawks are here every Monday and Tuesday night, so please tell a friend. And be sure to visit Carol's CD card at the front of the club. On behalf of all of us here at Birdland, we want to thank you for joining us. We look forward to your next visit.
patronize Carol.